So the work I'm showing, it's a work series. It's called Crash Simulation, and it's from 2019, 2020. The series is made out of clay. It's like pictures, hubcaps, and they're kind of mimicking metal, but it's glazed ceramics. And so the whole series has to do with kind of reflecting on the society we're in, which is fueled by speed, by optimization, and addressing kind of a speechlessness also where we're at right now. And you have this heat deformed sculptures which they're almost ironic in the sense of that, like, they are not what they are, and you're getting tricked by them, kind of. And at the same time, they're also really, they're like very fluid, they're very morphic, they're also very human in a kind of way. And so yeah, it's addressing new epistemologies, I guess, which are working for the now and for the future. The works themselves, at the beginning, they're casted. So I have like different molds where I cast them in, and then I'll start to play with them, to deform them, to add new things, twist them, yeah, and start to sculpt them until they get the final form. Of course, it's political. Everything is kind of political, you know, like the way you get up in the morning and the routine you have automatically says something about you and how you react to the world around you. I think it's like what's more interesting is to differentiate, you know, is this a work which has an agenda? Is it running under a flag, or is it so that's like, for me, much more interesting, and I am not interested in having this kind of agenda. Like, I mean, in general, I mean, it's a question about art in general. What does art do? And if you go and view it, what does it do with you? And it depends on how you let it also affect you, kind of. Like, how much do you stay with a piece, and also, yeah, does it actually speak to you? Do you have some? Do you find common ground in it, or like, does it trigger some imagination to go somewhere else, or like to imagine something else? And maybe you can even say, like, just to dream of different futures or possibilities is per se already political, you know, like as soon as you engage and challenge a status quo, then of course you're automatically there. But like, you know, I really don't feel that it's necessary for work to have just one clear thing to say, and that, in contrary, I find it very, very boring. You're done with something, you also have this time of reflecting, you're stepping back, and you see also, like, you're part of a canon, you're part of context and history. And for example, I look at them and I was thinking of Helen Chadwick's Piss Flowers, for example, you know, and so this goes into some complete other direction. Or like the Ginsberg poem, Back in the Real, Back in the Real, like where he talks about this kind of wasteland where protagonist is walking through, and he talks about the flower of industry, and talks about decay and fear, but also like what it means to be present in exact that moment, and how do you deal with it, and also how do you deal with being afraid, and yeah. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, I'm coming originally from painting. Yeah, I studied at the academy here painting. And I kind of slipped into sculpting through different people on the way, and who opened that medium up for me, and it was kind of very revealing to work into the room, basically, and also you kind of claim also room if something is more three-dimensional. And then, like, I mean, yeah, but so like working with ceramics, it's like with clay in general, it's like this material where you go into every direction with. Like, you can go into bronze, you can go into well, you can just make ceramics out of it. There's like so many possibilities, and it has been always the one of the main resources for sculptors. So I find this very interesting. As this, it's very accessible. It's like you don't need special tools. You know, like you can use your forks which are lying around to sculpt with them. So this is what I find very interesting in the material itself, and how it's ecological also. But at the same time, it's like a very stressful material also, because it breaks all the time. It's a challenge. And I used to have other works and previous works where I really worked with the cracks. Like they were super important in the works themselves. Or like I even had works which I smashed deliberately to just put them back together again, or like even make them bigger. Yeah. I think that's also something what I'm really interested in general, is how to expand the material, and yeah, I mean, also for yourself, you know, you find also adventure in it, I guess. But then also it's just a means to an end. In the end, you know, it's like a tool, and you use it, and you can express something with it. And there's also other materials you could use to go there, I guess. Yeah. First of all, I was super happy to be invited. Like it's really great to show here, and also with all of the amazing artists which are showing in this show. And I feel the works fit very, very good in the whole concept of the whole curatorial concept around here. And they're like, and also like I really like how they're scattered throughout the whole place. It feels like they're very, they're kind of like connecting to all of the other works with that also. So they're like not just solely by themselves. They're like really communicating more with the other pieces in the show. So, and yeah, I think they fit perfect in the whole concept of the show, you know, like talking about questioning the reality where we are at or in right now, you know, and yeah. This is so funny. No, this is so funny because I haven't seen it yet, and I have an exhibition opening in Dresden end of this month. And the art historian who wrote the text to the show, like reference at the beginning Cronenberg, and it's really beautiful. And for me, it was like, that's amazing. And that's what I also really like. As soon as your work leaves the studio and it's getting shown somewhere, and you have like these other people, you know, who write something, and then you have more conversation, and like it really expands my knowledge actually. And it's so yeah. Well, I guess that's also what it's about. You know, you show your work and then you get something. Yeah.